Well, 2.5 weeks into the conflict, Ukraine and some Western allies say there is strong evidence that Russia is committing war crimes during this invasion. What exactly constitutes a war crime, and what are the rules of war in general? Sam Kramer sitting down tonight with a Marquette University professor. Sam joins us live with a breakdown. Sam?
Yeah, hi there, Ted. Well, first, these international rules of war come from the Geneva Conventions of 1949. That was right after World War II. To put it simply, the laws protect civilians and anyone else that is not directly associated with armed conflict from armed conflict. But as this Marquette expert tells us, even that has become tricky in Ukraine. This was the aftermath of a maternity hospital bombing this week in Mariupol, an attack Ukraine's president calls an undeniable war crime.
What is happening is a genocide of Ukrainians.
Marquette assistant professor Mark Berlin says that attack is just one example of the war crimes we've seen based on preliminary evidence.
What we're seeing right now is, the entire range of potential war crimes on display in a lot of ways.
Berlin teaches international law, like the international humanitarian law, which covers war. That law prevents siege tactics, starving a population, for example. It also says soldiers must allow civilians to leave an area and cannot intentionally strike civilians. Any violation is a war crime.
Attacking civilian targets like hospitals, schools, things that don't have a military purpose, those are considered civilian objects, and they are supposed to be immune from attack under international law.
But Berlin says war in an urban setting complicates this, especially with ordinary Ukrainian citizens joining the fight.
Anyone who picks up a weapon and is actually engaged in hostilities towards you is a legitimate target.
The International Criminal Court's prosecutor is already investigating Russian war crimes. On-the-ground reporting will be used as evidence, but Berlin says investigation, even prosecution, can take years.
The line between a criminal act and a legitimate act under the law can be pretty gray.
So while the international court will and already is kind of investigating this situation, it's actually the primary responsibility of the countries involved, in this case Russia and Ukraine, to prosecute and really dig into those war crimes. But Berlin tells me it's unlikely for that to happen until this war is actually over. We're live tonight on the campus of Marquette University. Sam Kramer, FOX6 News.
We learned a lot in that story, Sam. Thanks for doing it.